Yeah, yeah.
We can see it, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Broker Than You. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large and small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you suffered any type of personal injury, a slip and fall, a car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all over the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, if you're in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He specializes in training boys and girls of all ages, of all sports. He has a boot camp program, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He also has an athletic development program. He trains boys and girls from the ground up in the sport of their choice, helps them become the best they can possibly be, reach their full potential. And Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship in all different types of sports. We also have down south Julius Williams and the Trench Mob. Julius is in Decatur, Georgia, trains offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments, and they also do college showcase camps. Proud to say they were undefeated in every tournament they attended. And each college showcase camp, a member of the Trench Mob was offered a scholarship. Julius has sent kids to Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. If you're a lineman and you want to work with the best, just go to www.battleofthetrenches.com. And now for the men of the hour from Broker Than You, the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Mr. Laban Marsh, with his Toronto Blue Jays hat on.
Bro, this is in honor of #1 alumni, George Springer. And I'm going to go off on a little bit after we introduce the other two gentlemen. But, bro, my brother Lucas and I, growing up, would always say, pressure makes me fresher. And George Springer is Captain Clutch. Opens the series, first pitch, home run, ends the series with a 3-run go-ahead. You can talk all you want about Vladi. I think it's an awesome story. His dad with the Expos and him with Toronto. But, bro, George Springer is the man. And I will give a little shout-out to Ben Kasparius, the pitcher from L.A., who started in North Carolina, finished at UConn. But, yeah, man, I got my blue and white. It goes with tonight is playoff volleyball for Mackenzie. What could be her last high school game, you never know.
Ever, yeah.
Woo! Okay.
Man, you know, but you got to win them. This is playoff time. You have to win. And the only thing I'll say about, like, she has been serving so well. I hope everything goes well. I pray they do well. But, like, I'll sit later tonight and see how the chips fall. But you got to put your best foot forward. And I hope Kenzie can be clutch with some.
Yeah, you're fired up. I like it.
I could barely sleep last night. So, yeah, but Fresh and James, welcome. Thanks for being here, Freshy Fresh. Where you at, brother?
Fresh. He's at the State Fair.
I'm at the North Carolina State Fair. We are on NC State's campus. That's why you see the red seats in the background. I think it's one of their arenas that they use. But yeah.
Do that state fair, like our state fairs, they sell livestock and things. Is that what's happening there?
Yeah, state fairs are usually agriculture based, so it's a whole bunch of agriculture type stuff. If you see like it's definitely. Let me see if I turn. Oh, I'm about to say, yeah. If you just took a look around, that's what's going on down there.
Wow.
Holy
Nice.
They got
Wow.
vendors and stuff. That's just I'm inside. If I went outside, it would be bananas. So
James,
it's a
James, do I need an insurance policy if I buy a cow?
Do you insure cows, bro? That is
yeah,
their demise,
Got to
bro.
insure the cows.
The
yeah.
filet.
You want to insure the cow, so you get another one.
Yeah, fresh from
That's
fresh
actually a big tax write-off. That's crazy, believe it or not.
a
Yeah,
cow.
listen. It's farming. Like there are a lot of doctors who will start like an alpaca farm because of the tax benefits of having agricultural on large tracts of land. So fresh, you're not lying.
Uh, fresh from FreshFold Laundry Co, our entrepreneur, and James Luther James Insurance, the best of the best, and he's got his New York Knicks
Where
basketball.
Where were they
every
giving
night.
those? Where were they giving those sweatshirts away at?
Open at night.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We play
Yeah.
Cleveland.
You guys, wow, we had a ton of viewership and feedback last week. Laban, did you see the numbers that I sent you?
Bro, listen, I don't understand the algorithms. I mean, I understand if people are just opening it
Not
up or
the
they
algorithm, but
No, but I'm saying like the stats of it, as far as how many people watch. Like, how
do
you know if they just turned it on or they sat and watched for a while? Like, how
No,
deep?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do.
I'm-
The average watch time is 35 minutes.
Really?
Typically, yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
pulls out that C personality, which I mean stats do matter, and it is important to know your numbers. How much do we talk about that in business and in everything else? And it's true in
Right.
sports. Like, bro, if you know that George Springer statistically, when he's in clutch position, is going to hit it out, you're going to want to have that dude in the lineup. And I tell my daughter because she has a great serve, but towards the end of games, she isn't a great passer in the back row. So she will have 2 or 3 great serves. We're at 23, 24 points, and they bring in the libero to serve for her. And it frustrates me. I know
It's in
Kenzie
her
gets
mind.
frustrated, but no, you know what though? Honestly, the coach is so good. She has had the dialogue with Mackenzie, and it's like, Kenzie, you have a great serve, but if the ball is returned, you have a hard time passing it to our setter. The other girl has a good serve, good enough where if they get the ball and hit it back, she has a better chance of passing it than Kenzie. So Kenzie understands why she comes out, but I also know it really frustrates her. But when you look at the statistics, like the coach does, she understands she's trying to win ball games. And so I think that's where and Kenzie had a game a couple games ago where she didn't play that much. She missed a few blocks, and it was frustrating. And as long as the coach communicates, I'm good with it. But we're at playoff time, and so I hope she comes in clutch because statistically, her kills percentage-wise have been very strong. Our middles play well. We've got an incredible sophomore stud who will go somewhere to play D1 in Callie Stahl. But it's just a lot of fun to watch. And I think, again, I remember being a kid, and I ended my playoff or my high school football career 4 downs, and I never touched the football. I don't even think I've ever said that out loud in public in 28 years. But, like, dude, it just has bothered me that in the last 4 downs, I didn't get to touch the ball and have a chance to win the game. And it's one of those things where, hey, the coach makes the calls, but you got to make the plays. So, yeah, you're going to have to settle me down because I'm fired up tonight.
That's good. That's what we want. That's what we want. James, two of the questions that came in were about certain life insurance policies that you obviously sell. Mm-hmm. Do you have concern with selling policies because of the government shutdown and concern that people may not be able to pay the premium or whatever is owed on it, and you mentioned you get stuck with it?
Yeah. So
that was one of the questions.
The people that I target around this time of year are people who are able to do their whole premium for the year.
Mm.
So
Wow.
that eliminates everything. Now, depending on the job that person may have, if they're making monthly payments, like let's say they work for the transit authority or something like that, they're not losing their jobs. If they're a police officer or something, they're not losing their jobs. If you're working for a company that relies on, companies like Walmart and Target and all that stuff, and their sales are up and down because of the economy, those are the ones that gives me concern. But if you've been at your place 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, 9 out of 10 times we're going to probably talk about doing annuities.
Yeah.
Annuities are one-time payments.
Correct.
Or an IUL where I rescue your 401k or something like that. Those are like one-time payments or multiple payments, but it's paid for the year. I'm not worried about that. And actually, around now is good, even though the economy doesn't look great. You're putting your money on the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 has a greater success rate than anything else.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Real quick, one of the things I just heard, I think it was this morning, because we talk about the government shutdown, but I think Amazon just announced that they are going to replace 30% of their workforce with robotics.
Yep, with AI.
And here's the thing that I even talked to my business coach about it, and some people don't think about the idea, as a business, automating things and having robots, okay, you might not have to pay them, like you do a person in their healthcare and all that other stuff, but you're also eliminating a consumer.
Yep.
And I think that's where people just don't seem to get it. It's like somebody lost their job, but the robots aren't consuming anything. They don't make money and then go out and spend it on furniture and spend it on paint and buy a house.
Yeah,
they don't get paid overtime either.
Right. And I mean
that's a great point.
That's the bigger challenge about automation and robotics is that they lose the consumer, and that has been the whole idea. And they said the same thing about credit. Like if I have a $100 bill and I go pay my plumber, and then my plumber goes and buys his family dinner at the restaurant, that $100 is still $100. But if I use a debit or if I use a credit card, and then he uses a credit card, and then he uses a credit card, it starts to deplete the value of that $100 bill based on fees and things. So. And again, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent from the government shutdown, but so much of, when they're talking about like Amazon, and I drove out to Indianapolis on Monday, dude, you talk about wide open space. And then like I saw warehouses, like 750,000 square feet available for rent. And I'm like, dude,
who's renting that?
Outside of Amazon, like what are we doing? We're no longer building residential neighborhoods. You're building these giant facilities to store crap.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so that was just something I heard this morning. And I'm like, again, 30% of Amazon's workforce, which I mean is probably pretty significant. They're going to be looking for new work, but the robotics taking over won't be consuming anything. And that is more of a discussion point when it comes to automation, in my opinion.
Well, that's what's in the market.
What's interesting about this is this actually can help bring up, kind of tie a couple things together. One thing is, I don't know, anybody here ever train any kind of martial arts, anything like that, or if you ever train, right?
Laban does.
If you ever train, like even jiu-jitsu, like they will tell you, like you go with the pain, right? A lot of people want to pull away. That's how you hurt yourself and break. If you go towards the pain, you learn how to reverse techniques and how to kind of push through, because you go with the pain. So if the pain is taking you right, you go right. People try to pull away from it, and that's how you can hurt yourself. So the pain point that I'm talking about is, right, we're talking about like AI, automation, things like that. A lot of people, right, because look, it's inevitable, it's happening. You have a lot of people who will gripe about, AI is going to take jobs. Look, so how about you become proficient in AI? How about you figure out how you can take advantage of AI, how you can use it to your advantage, and you can empower people? Because there's AI consultants right now that people are coming in, consulting, making stupid money, just consulting to companies who need to know how to use AI, how to train their employees on how to use AI. Things like that. So you have these opportunities. So people need to embrace. You need to take the pain and go, all right, how do I go with this pain and turn it to my advantage? Like anything else, how do you counter it? The way you counter is that you go with it, you flow with that pain to counter it. So that's one point. The other point, when Laban was talking about how what's being built, like they're building, they got these huge warehouses, they're building things like that. So kind of related, somewhat related in terms of with the pain and stuff like that. So you have these houses, I mean these warehouses or commercial industrial type properties being built. What I'm seeing, right, and it depends on where you are, regionally, certain parts of the country. Actually, when these things are getting built, I see a lot more building of residential, kind of smaller single family. They're doing a lot more kind of compact row home type stuff. The living footprint is kind of, it's weird. You know how things kind of they recycle. Like back in the day, our probably great grandparents lived in like 750 square feet was probably large, and a lot of people lived. You had, and they had families of like 8 people, right? 8+ people. And we have families of 6, and we have 4,000+ square feet. Now they're flipping things back because they want to get so many people into these compact spaces. And when you have these warehouses, these areas, right? These B areas, we call them these tertiary areas, right, Laban? The tertiary areas, you're starting to see a lot of more build around those areas because people may not be able to live directly into where the city part is, or they may not even want to live right where the factories are, but they're building these areas so where people can commute, right? They do this, and you look at these economic development plans, they know, all right, they have no problem commuting between, call it 25 and 55 minutes, if you will, or an hour.
Yeah.
So they're building within a range for these the working class workforce people to be able to get to these workforce jobs, because wherever you have a factory or warehouse, it's workforce, right? Someone's blue collar, someone's getting their hands dirty. So you have those things. I think you bringing that up, we can kind of tie it into how it impacts from a real estate standpoint and how you should approach it from an entrepreneurial standpoint, or just even from an investment standpoint. Right. There's ways to look into stuff. And even and the last thing I'll touch on, there's ways even for people to get in on some of these deals from a crowdfunding standpoint. There's companies out there that you can just kind of put in, a relatively small amount, $1,000 to $5,000, and now you own, right? Because they crowdfund. Now you're a part owner of a warehouse, of multifamily, of mixed use. So you have opportunities out there to take advantage of if you are not looking at everything as the sky is falling, and you look at it as, how can I take advantage of this changing climate that's inevitable? There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, it's going to happen regardless. You're absolutely right.
It's interesting, though, Fresh, what you talk about there, which is basically like micro shares of a company where even from us as a real estate company, I know my wife is a mortgage brokerage. Like when you have certain number of either employees or 1099 agents who are vested in your company and you want to offer them, shares of the company, non-voting rights, that sort of thing. But if you feel like the company is on the way up and you want to have a little piece of that, it creates a requirement of transparency, which we have anyways. But there's definitely ways, and I know you're talking about crowdfunding and getting involved, but even if you are a business owner that needs some capital, that is an interesting way of looking at saying, hey, you better have your business plan together and be able to explain your P&L and show them all of that. But it's like, yeah, you can start selling micro shares of your company, 10% to 10 different people at 1% each, and this is what you get. But I think you're right, Fresh. There's got to be a creative way of taking what is inevitably coming down the pike and implementing it to your benefit and to the benefit of your clientele. Because some of that AI, though, I just don't like what they're doing to Mr. Rogers. I mean, some of that stuff with Tupac walking in and man, it's like, what?
That was just crazy. Yeah, it's funny, but they do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, how does that not look like he's on set? I mean, it's crazy. Some of the AI But yeah, I mean, it is. It's interesting as far as the because even my son, what did he say? My son said that there's a kid that moved to Texas and he's a content creator now and he just bought his first Porsche. And I'm like,
Yep.
Oh,
but I mean, that's what these high school kids like. They don't look at.
no, not even high school, Labe. Middle school. They've been doing it. Somebody did that with slime. You don't understand. You're talking about 5-6 years ago. A kid was millionaires with slime, with little art, being creative. That's why we also should encourage our kids to be creative.
Yes.
Don't push them away from the technology.
Yep.
Steer them in the right direction of the technology. So my son, he'll want to like play like Roblox and stuff like that. I say, hey, you only get a certain amount of time if you want to do something like that. How much of this time are you spending creating? You got to create something. So I encourage him to, hey, he want to watch the YouTube channels when they're doing the unboxing or they're doing the playing the game. I said, no, you do that. You be the one creating the content so that people can see, so that you can see what goes into it, so you have a better understanding. So we got to move in that way.
Yeah, and if you've got kids and ever heard of that guy Blippy, dude, like. Yeah, this is some 30-year-old shameless guy that's probably making millions by being this corny character for kids. And dude, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I don't get it, but I know it's out there. And the and my wife, again, in mortgage, she saw this because, like, when you apply for a loan, they want 2 years of job history, and it's best if it's W-2. But when you're in this type of industry, like, hey, I'm a content creator, and like Nikki, you know what I mean? Castingway, same thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's similar to me in real estate. I don't know what I'm going to make this year to next year as a 1099 portion, but the gig economy where you might teach piano and you make $20,000 one month and $5,000 the next month. I think that's where the concern I have is a lot of people in the gig economy aren't even looking to buy homes. And yet there are mortgage programs that we now can put people like that into, where you don't have a traditional job history of 2 years, but you can show you make money. And that's where I'm curious. And I know my wife has done financing for some people who are in more risque,
non-traditional.
Yes. But like, they can prove they make, $250,000 a year doing what they do, and all they have to do is not wear socks. It's crazy.
Playing off what you just said, Laban. This is a prime example. Like you say, you don't know what you're going to make month to month or what have you. There's a prime example of putting your money into something that will give you a dividend every month.
Mm-hmm. And you'll generate revenue off of, correct?
Exactly.
Well, and I mean, those are great options, because on the bit, like, even for our agents, I tell them, because when you have the slower months, which tend to be the end of the
end of the year,
or first of Q1, it's like, well, that money that you were making really strong in July, August, September, set that aside and then pay yourself in January. Pay yourself what you know you need to cover your expenses. Let that savings sit. But it comes back to discipline, right, James? I mean, how many? We're probably on week 5 of finding out when my wife and I can sit down and talk to you. So,
exactly.
I mean, it is one of those things where it's just got to be top of mind, and then you go back to Eisenhower's.
Laban, I just you have to lay down the law, and you have to say, Meg, we're having this meeting, whether you like it or not, and see how she responds.
I need you to come to my house.
He's like, he already knows how that's going to go down.
Sounds really good.
Really good.
She's a sweetheart, and
it wouldn't go over well.
No, listen, she's very receptive to it, but honestly, there's times where like ships passing in the night. In fact, like I go to the chiropractor Tuesdays at 11. She can't shake work. So yesterday I happened to be driving out when she was leaving at 4:00. She never leaves her office before 5:30. And I'm like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to the chiropractor. I said, how'd you get in with Dr. Miller? She's like, oh, I got to go to the other guy because I can't get out in the morning. So she has I don't even know what her schedule's like. I don't care. I mind my own business. I have enough to do on my own. But it is amazing and almost sad. We're happily married 21 years in November here. But it's like, yeah, it's really hard to get us both together, even like for parent-teacher conferences. We try. And this is where when I see couples going to the grocery store together, I'm baffled. How do you have time to go to a grocery store together? Like, we try to do as much as we can independently so the whole household thing gets done. And that's
the power of Zoom. I don't need you both together. I just
No,
need you
you're
both
right.
together in the same
And that's
connection.
where I thought I was going to be able to do that when she was in Puerto Rico, but that went off the rails. So we will get together, James. But I think again, that's where I'm not shying away from seeing you every week, and I don't make excuses. I just tell you the truth.
I'm gonna
that
be
it's
a
been
marriage
challenging.
counselor, Laban. I think I'll get it done. James, we had this question come in several times.
Okay.
Cindy apparently asked the most. She has several, I guess, debts, payments, a car mortgage, maybe a personal loan.
Okay.
She was curious if that will affect getting or changing her life insurance policy around.
No. As long as she's not
in
bankrupt or anything, yeah, she's fine.
Okay. And then they also wanted to know, I don't even know if this is a question, how much life insurance would you recommend that a person needs? Because apparently there's several people that are using this life insurance calculator. I've never heard of this.
It's
the human life value method.
It's kind of vague. So
okay.
Everything goes by age, income, and need.
Oh, okay. All
so,
right. That clears it up.
So if you need insurance just to put somebody to rest, you don't need anything more than at worst case scenario, 10,000 at the very best, 10 to 15 grand. But if you're talking about setting aside a legacy for your family, that's a whole different conversation. Right. And it might, like, let's say for argument's sake, it might be $1 million, you know, depending on the age and the type of policy, that $1 million policy might not be $200-300 a month. It might be something.
No, of course not. Right.
It might be like, depending on age, $75 or, you know, $100, because there might be something like term insurance as opposed to whole life. So it all depends. It all depends on what kind of policy and the age and the income.
Because Franklin was asking
and health
about putting together a policy to, you know, obviously he wants to generate generational wealth and leave a legacy behind for his future generations. What would that entail as far as a policy? I know you guys talked annuities and trust last week. Are those things that
falls into play? Yeah, that comes into play. So send me a note to my website.
Okay. So that is something that is easily, I mean, it can be done with a policy and annuity. And if you want to generate generational wealth, you can do that. Fresh, with the clients that you're having, several people have asked, because being a more high-end laundry service, is that something that you have a fear of with the government shutdown? Is that a business that could be affected by that? Something people that, you know, could cut back on?
No fears over here from the government stuff. It's just like I look at business kind of similar to how I look at life. Certain things are inevitable, and then it's at times when you just have to pivot. Like you have to adjust. So whatever happens, what I would say is people will cut things, right? So let's just say if I have subscribers, am I concerned that my subscriptions may go down? No, I'm not. But that's something that could happen, I think, if I had people that it impacted in that way. So more right now, it's more on a federal level than it is kind of local. So it's not many. Like if I was in DC and I was somewhere where it was like, you know, when I served, and a lot of my people were people that work in and around like government places. If I was in the DMV area, I probably would have a bigger. I probably could see myself potentially having a bigger impact.
Because those are your clients. They're all like government workers.
Yeah, they're all government. If they were all government workers, but where I am, it's more. I'll have local government workers, but the local government it's not really impacted, right? They're already budgeted, funded, all of those things. That's usually done. So it's not really a thing. But I would just like anything else. I would take this shutdown like how you would take anything else. Like outside of something that's really like extreme that would really kind of topple whole economies, which is something like war, which is we have to be very careful as a country where we're heading because it looks we're close. I hope we don't go that way. Now that would impact almost no matter whatever you're doing. It's going to have that can have a major impact because of something like that. But this shutdown is something that's going to be temporary. I mean, if you look at it, I think the last when he was
35 days.
Yeah, 35 days was the last one, right? So I don't know where we are now. I think we're in the 20s or something. I can't. So
it's almost a month.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's a month.
Where it's not like it's not. There's precedent been set for how things happen and what you do, what you deal with things. I think the government shutdown is a microcosm of a much bigger thing, and we just have to. I think as Americans, we have to kind of pull together and really focus on who we are as individuals. First and foremost, we're human beings, right? So if we look at things from a human being aspect, then we can see what the truth is about what's being said and what's out there. If you look at it just from a human being standpoint, how do you want to treat other human beings and how do you want to be treated if you were a human being? Once you look at it from that standpoint, you understand what's being done. And then that is very clear, right? I'm not going to go back and forth about anything. But just from a human being standpoint, if we look at things from that perspective and we care about each other and we look to be humane, then that should be our moral compass. That should be our true north on how we move in general. And I think that will help us make good decisions, especially coming this next month when it's time for us to go to go cast our ballot on how we want our country to move forward.
But think about it. I thought about this, and Pennsylvania is the only state that has not passed the state budget, by the way, out of the 50. So
really?
It's been since July 1st. Governor Shapiro is not, and the House and Senate need to pass it. So Pennsylvania is the only one who's not. But I was talking to my coach. I drove out Friday to Warren to deliver the runway. And, think about the general public is supposed to mind their own business and government do their work. But the general public is more worried about what everybody else is doing than minding their own business. And then the government, who's supposed to be minding the business of everyone else, only cares about themselves. It's the craziest thing ever where, again, the politicians who should be worrying about everyone else only worry about themselves. The people who should only be worried about themselves are only worried about everybody else and don't take care of their own household. It's the craziest thing ever, and ultimately there's no accountability. Are these people still getting paid in the state, Senate, and House for Pennsylvania? These are the things where those are the types of rules that need to change in order for these people to be held accountable. And again, it's the politics of it all is so frustrating. And again, it's a lot like these schools who say, oh, it's all about the kids, whether it's athletics or academics. It's not all about the kids. And it's also not all about the people until we, the people, start standing up and demanding more and better. And you're right, Fresh. Voting is certainly one way to do it. We've got a local municipality in Mill Creek that's deciding on the form of government. And of the 25 largest municipalities in Pennsylvania, Mill Creek is the only one with 3 supervisors, and everybody else has one main deciding body and then a board. So it's you have to pay attention what's going on, primarily local, but even for us at the state and then the federal level, you could never run a business the way they do this. So it's. I'm not frustrated. I'm excited about sports.
Laban, you met my cousin
I did.
in Boston, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
How's he
he's the
doing?
one. He was the one I was telling Fresh about that has the laundromat.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He was curious, Fresh. I know you're down south, but location wise, why you picked the location that you did.
Well, just again, locate. So a couple things. I'll say, just a kind of a reminder. We moved, so now I'm actually in a better location. So we're in a better location now.
I know you are now.
So we're in a better location in Chapel Hill proper, which is much better. Initially, you ideally want to pick where there's like kind of high traffic areas. If you have a storefront or something like that, you want high visibility where people can, it's open for people to be, for people to see things. So that's where, and it depends on the type of business you're doing. Remember, my business primarily was I wasn't really concerned about people coming in off the street initially.
Right.
It was more about, all right, we're providing a service that more than likely it's a more of for lack of a better term, a more sophisticated client is looking for a way to save time. Not like, all right, I'm just happen to be walking by this strip and I see this place. Let me walk in and let me go get a slice of pizza, right? Or let me just go in and drop off this sweater. No, that's not kind of what you would do. You would have a need, like, you know what? We play on pain. We put out pain points. We study pain points, if you will, and then we speak to that in our advertising to tell people, look, we can help you with that pain point. So, but to refocus on the location question, it's based on what your desired need is, and ideally you want, if you are a storefront where someone can walk in, you want a location where it's high traffic. If you're in a place of if it's more of a place of like, hey, I'm just operating a location, a place that I need to get stuff done, almost like a factory, if you will, or then it's more then that don't really matter where it is, as long as the space helps you do the things you need to do.
And his other question was, he got a contract for a certain area in Boston where he exclusively can do businesses and whatever for laundry. He was curious if you have that at all in your area.
No, I don't have any exclusive things, but we do different things. Like I develop routes. Like I have routes in certain areas, neighborhoods, from a residential standpoint. And but if he has that is what you want. If you got kind of built-in clientele, where I'm gonna have to talk to him a little bit more, because I don't know if he's saying that he has like kind of exclusive advertising rights through a company.
He's got exclusive rights to do laundry in a certain area, range, radius, I guess, from what he was telling me. That's what he was saying.
Right. And if it's like nobody else can do,
yes.
Is that something that the local municipality did, or
that kind of takes away competition?
If you're a business, industrial wise, he got a contract to do the businesses in this certain area. He was asking.
Nice.
He was just
okay. That's good.
You guys,
if you got exclusivity, that is amazing.
So Laban, another question that had come up with you, obviously, with real estate. People have asked, has the market slowed down somewhat because of the government shutdown?
No. Government shutdown has not affected us. Again, I mean, we don't have as many USDA loans, which are your rural type properties and things. But like I showed 4 homes on Sunday night, and I tried to schedule 7. 3 of them were already sold.
Oh wow!
So I mean, and this is a $500,000, $350 to $450, $500,000 homes. So I mean, it's still pretty busy. We have decent weather, so that always helps. But I don't see a slowdown just because rates are in the low sixes for well qualified buyer. And I mean, they've been in the 7s and 8s over the 23, 24. So as long as more inventory keeps coming out, it's going to keep selling if it's priced correctly. So, I mean, if you price it right, you can still sell and maybe get multiple offers.
And the interest rates, because they're low, it's a good thing, which is why, like, I try to tell people while interest rates are low now, put some of your money in annuities. Even if it's 3 years, but if it's 3 years or 5 years or whatever, get while the getting's good. Like right now, I'm able to get people anywhere between 6 and 8% on their money on annuities, and you can start off as little as $10,000.
Hey, James, talk about how that works. Like, explain that a little bit more. Like, how does the lower interest rate benefit them in going into an annuity for the return purposes?
Well, because you're going in it's like buying stock. So like you want to buy Apple, right? And Apple previously might have been $50 a share. Now that the rates are low, you can probably buy Apple for $20 a share because the market was a little down. But with the annuities, you're able to do compounded interest on your money for a period of time. You don't have to let it sit in there for 20 years or 10 years or what have you. You can do something as 3 years, something as low as 3 years. And, if you wanted to double up your money, so to speak, or add to what you have, and you just wanted to play around with the market, you can put in, like I said, as minimum as $10,000. You'll get anywhere between 6 and 8%. You pull your money out. Now, the thing with annuities is when you pull your money out, it's not tax deferred. You have to pay taxes. You
do have to pay taxes
on annuities, not whole life insurance. So the cool thing with the annuities is it works like insurance because you get a death benefit along with it. You know what I mean? But if you're looking to put your money into other things, you're trying to just make money right away, and you might have 20 grand or 15 grand or something like that, and you wanted to play around with the market, it's a safer bet that way than playing the stock game. Because,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So like the stock game, if the market goes down, you lose your money.
I got you. Okay. Fresh, the same thing with you. For life insurance policies, you have kids. Do you have a special policy that takes care of your family and something different because you're a business owner as well? Or is there something that's all encompassing? Somebody just asked.
So when we got our insurance policies, or I would say our kind of like financial kind of don't have the right words to say, but we have insurance policies, we have like investments, all of these things, we kind of group them together. But at the time, we kind of try to take a peek into the future on, all right, are we having more kids? How many kids we have? What do we want to do? Intentions for college. So we put all these things in place that were based off of our situation and what we predicted our situation to be. Right? So we chose products and things based over that. Right? Based over that, from an insurance standpoint, we decided to go with IULs. So we got IULs for ourselves to kind of cover us, also to generate wealth so our kids can have them. We're also fortunate enough to have knowledgeable grandparents. We have knowledgeable grandparents we had knowledgeable grandparents that also were familiar with the business and the industry and how things are going, and we were able, and they actually got IULs on our children. So
Oh, okay.
we had basically kind of like a collabo. Like that was something we were planning on doing, but they did it. So when they did it, we're in control of it. They put funds into it. We put funds into it. So our kids have IULs that they've had for several years now. So now we have products based off of strategies on how to grow. So we kind of really took a deep dive into how to do things. But just from without going into the weeds, but just from an insurance standpoint, we really like the IUL and how powerful it is, how flexible it is, and how we can use it as a tool, and how we can use it to benefit in so many different ways, from a tax savings perspective, from a like how you can, because you're not taxed on things that on loans, right? So when we use things to purchase things, we use IULs, pull money from that to purchase, to invest in things, so that we're not taxed on the gains, because the money came from a loan. That's not really our money. It's the insurance company's money that we borrowed. The insurance companies use the insurance company money against our cash value, to do the things that we would normally do, right?
Wow.
Or
just out of
yeah,
pocket.
so the things we would either out of pocket, or what we put, like, so whether we want to invest in a business, whether we want to purchase a vehicle, whether we want to do these things, you use an IUL. It's a tool that you use to not have to kind of to get taxed in so many different ways. So we keep more of our money in our pockets while still doing things that we would normally do, by using a product like that. So again, I would just speak from that insurance standpoint. We did the research. We looked into our future, what we wanted to do. We use these products to help guide us, to help kind of basically support us, to be our kind of safety net and grow. Like, it's multiple things. It's our safety net. It's our war chest. It's our so many different things that we use, that we can use these things to help us kind of grow and build. And that's what we decided to do from a policy like that.
Right. James.
Yes, sir.
Somebody had asked, okay, if being a business owner, or if you do own multiple businesses and you do purchase life insurance, can that affect your premiums? Can that lower your premium? Can that affect the type of policy you're able to purchase?
What's the question again?
If you're a business owner, or own multiple businesses,
okay,
can it affect the type of policy you're able to purchase, the value of it, and the premiums that you will pay off of it?
It all depends on. So how I work is this: I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And one of my major questions is, how much is your net worth? Like, what can you afford? And how's your health? Because if you're a millionaire and you got COPD, I can't help you.
Yeah, you can't help
at all. You can't help them at all, though. I know. Obviously health is a big factor. I mean, what they're investing in.
If they have, so let's say they wanted to, insure their wife or their kids and be the owner of the policy, then yeah, because then, so like, let's say you have a teenage daughter and you're 56 years old and you have like a heart issue, right? The insurance company isn't going to cover you, but you can own the policy on your daughter for the sake of, well, not your daughter, but your child or your wife, for the sake of owning the policy for the income.
Oh, okay. I see how that works.
So you're able to pull from the policy because you're the one paying for it. You own that policy.
Sure. Okay.
Laban, as Q4 is going on, somebody has asked, what are your main goals as you finish out 2025? Are you looking for more inventory to sell? Are you looking, obviously, to possibly buy? what would you say your main goal is as a company? I know you own 48 of them, but
Yeah, no.
for your agents, let's say.
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting time. And I've talked about this before where last year's Q4, I think, was affected by the uncertainty of the election. People just didn't know
Yeah,
who was
that's
going to
true.
win one way or the other. So they just kind of held off on doing much. And then we had a really rough winter that started on Black Friday and it became White Friday because we got 30 some inches of snow. And then winter didn't stop until what felt like May or June. So our Q4 was slow last year. Q1, because Q4 is slow, didn't close out as much real estate. And Q2 is when we started to see more inventory hitting the market. Q3 was probably one of the better quarters we've had in a few years, just because, again, more inventory was coming up, rates are better. Buyers have been sitting on their hands waiting for opportunities. And so as we head into the fourth quarter, like, we have a strong escrow, which means there's deposits in the bank for people that'll be closing on homes in the next 45 to 60 days in theory. So in looking at 2026, closing out 25, I think it's too late to catch up to have a banner year of any sorts.
Sure.
It reflects more of the 2023 year. 24 was pretty solid, but 25 kind of took, again, a bit of a lull, whether it was the election or the weather with the seasonality. But that's where, if we have, and I am not a fan of meteorologists, they're the only people that can be wrong every day and keep their job. But if we have a rough winter, I mean, people that need to buy, the beauty of it for us is if you're selling or buying in the winter, you're serious. You know what I mean? Like, you really need something. And so for us as agents, we know to take these people seriously. But I do anticipate 2026 to be a stronger year for sales because inventory has picked up. Now, we are still half of the inventory we usually would carry before the pandemic. We used to have about 1,000 to 1,100 active homes on the market residentially at all times. It was around 250 to 300 for a couple years there, and now we're getting into the 450, 500 available homes for sale. So in that regard, I anticipate 2026 to be more transactions. I think the prices will likely level off a little bit, but I think the demand is still there. If rates happen to creep down even a little bit, that's what gets people out there looking, because everybody realizes you can't, 3 months from now, if rates happen to jump up, you can't ask to have the rate from today. But if you lock into the rate today and 3 months from now the rate goes down by 1.5 points, you can refinance. So that's why we say buy the home, not the rate, right? Don't worry about the interest rate. Not that you shouldn't worry about it, but when you fall in love with a home, buy it. Don't be worried about the rate. Buy the home.
Right. Fresh, I will put you in touch with my cousin because he actually had a friend of his who cleaned up on college campuses with this one idea, which worked out amazingly, which I was shocked about. So I will pass on your information. You can go and enjoy the rest of your state fair. I can on to another show. But thank you guys. Great as always. Our viewership is skyrocketing. So congratulations on making people watch us. I appreciate it. For the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Laban Marsh, FreshFold Laundry Co., who is currently at the state fair, fresh himself, Nedvonne Young, and Luther James Insurance, James Whitfield. He's going to give you a great life insurance policy and make it tax-free. I'm Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.
Boom.